Ignite, sparked by BBB, where conversations are taking place to change the future.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to BBB Sharing. This is Joshua, and today I have Miss Paul. How are you?
I am fine, Josh. How are you?
I'm doing all right. We finally got you in here. It took a couple, but this is good. I'm glad we have you. So just tell me a little bit about what you do and who you are.
So I own Accent Professional Recruiting, and Accent's interesting. It's been in business since 1975, and I'm the fourth owner. So back in 1975, it was called Accent Personnel. So if that doesn't kind of, that's an old time. Like it's like nine
That
to
is very
five. It's
officey.
very officey, right? And so then fast forward to 2001, my mentor, her name was Angie Furby, and she bought the company after being there as a recruiter. She bought it in 2001, and then in 2007, Accent placed me at my first sales role, which was at Xerox. And so I sold for Xerox for about 3 years. And then in 2010, I was like, there are better people to sell technology than myself. And so I joined Accent directly as a recruiter. And then in 2015, Angie sold the business to another gentleman. And then fast forward to 2019, I bought the company in 2019. So I've owned it 6 years this past April. And obviously, the name is now Accent Professional Recruiting. So, Accent itself, once Angie bought the business, she changed the name from Personnel to Accent Professional Recruiting. And we decided, Angie was a salesperson, and we decided at that point, she decided that we would focus solely on sales, finding sales professionals across the US. And we did that very successfully. And that's still the core of our business is finding sales professionals across the United States. But with the pandemic, we ended up pivoting like everybody else, right? So we had a packaging client that said, well, you're so great at finding salespeople. Can you find me a customer service rep? Can you find me a equipment technician? Can you find me a regional controller? And we could. So we diversified in some aspects. What holds true today is Accent does find talent across the US. We do all direct hire, so no staffing, but we do it in a variety of industries. The top five are going to be packaging and supply chain, construction and building products, professional services, and the industrial manufacturing space. And then we'll round that out. We don't do a lot of medical or IT. We'll do software sales, but just some one-offs. Like we recruit for a lot of different types of companies here in Richmond, so pretty industry agnostic. But those are the top four where we tend to play.
Okay. Now, are those the top four because those are just more sought after and like just heavy when it comes to getting people?
I'll tell you why. It's very organic because like we'll have one manager that we recruited for one company, then they move and go to another. So it just so happened, the construction and building products started with a commercial HVAC firm back in 2010. And we started doing a lot of HVAC on the commercial side. That led into roofing. Then that led into flooring. And so just as the industry itself, and now we're doing quite a bit of GC, general contractor work. And we're doing project managers, estimators, and superintendents. And I'll tell you, the reason that industry, for example, has been so big for us is because they're really hard to find. Salespeople aren't as hard to find, but especially on the trade side, that true technical side is very hard. The amount of people come out of school. And, unfortunately, so really they use us because we have to go headhunt and take people from other companies. So yeah.
And do you have to sift through certain requirements or certifications that the person needs, or is that on the business owner?
We do. So they'll tell us, how our process works. If somebody decides to engage Accent, they'll come to us with a laundry list and a wish list of, we want this, 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 and this. And we'll either tell them you're really unrealistic or this is doable, or you might need to give me your nice to haves versus your must haves. And we'll go through and, we ask, that's how we find people. And, the way we find people, honestly, we're not going to post. Like a lot of people use job boards to post. And I don't want to sift through all the applicants that they would get that are not qualified, right? That's not, so we're taking more of that headhunting approach where we are going after passive candidates that are probably employed. They might not be looking at all. And we're reaching out to them and saying, hey, do you know XYZ company? They're fantastic. They're confidentially looking for a project manager. And your credential, according to what we see, you're a fit for this role. Are you open to a conversation? And, because it's a candidate market right now, Josh, gone are the days where you can post a job and get 20 qualified applicants or reach out to 20 people on LinkedIn and they'll all respond. Most people do not respond anymore. So we're getting really creative and we're doing a lot of referral work. So, we'll go through our proprietary database and say, I mean, I reached out to somebody I had talked to back in 2011, most recently, and I'd placed him, and he's currently at the same role, which is amazing. That doesn't happen much. And I asked him, I said, I'm looking for this in your area. I know it's outside of your industry. And he was able to give me some referrals. So we're using our network a lot now versus just posting. So we're taking a more active, not passive approach because that's the only thing that's working.
Yeah, that makes sense. I couldn't tell you the amount of times because my dad, we have a bakery.
We do.
Yeah, and I don't know how the difference is between what you do and like just the restaurant industry in general.
It's tough to recruit for. I spent a lot of time in it. So,
but there's just so many times of like sifting through applications and the amount of time that you're just wasting. Granted, you'll find that, one good person where you're like, all right, awesome, let's talk to this guy. But it's just such a funnel to the point where it's like, how much is it really worth it versus like actually going and hiring somebody?
it's amazing because we have some clients of ours that will post and then they'll send the resumes to us. It is amazing how many people apply to a job, which shows they're interested, right? They either never call you back, or they schedule an interview and don't show up. And so we find that if we go and actually actively recruit this person or they're referred to us by somebody, they're more likely to stay through the interview process and respond versus, and I don't know that it's any fault of a candidate, honestly. I think a lot of people are just applying to a million jobs and they forget on where they apply and stuff. But yeah, it's tough. I mean, the internet is great for so many things, but applying and getting resumes might not be one of them.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can't just rely on the one that you signed up for,
No.
especially if, rent's due next month. You gotta keep going, and then
Yeah.
whoever calls you back first is the one that you're gonna have an interview with.
Now, where is your parents' bakery? Is it here?
Yeah, no, so it's in Fredericksburg in
Oh, it
Alexandria.
is?
Yeah, and we do catering right now. But yeah, it's every time. What's your favorite cupcake?
Which I remember, traditional red velvet and cream. I mean, just that's traditional.
Well, that's our best sellers.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, next time I'm here, you need to have some.
You gotta let me know.
Okay, I will. Because yeah, I do love red velvet and cream cheese frosting.
Awesome.
What's your favorite cupcake?
Mine, we have two. There's a chocolate cupcake with a bit peanut butter frosting, which is really good, and we inject peanut butter into the cake itself.
Okay.
But we also have a banana cake with Nutella frosting, which is just great.
I bet you people love that.
It's nice, yeah.
Now, okay, they brought you any cupcakes here?
Oh, yeah. There's something, you cannot say no.
I need to start bringing some. I haven't brought them in a while, so I know they're missing some. More than happy to do that. But
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Sometime I get on my phone message. I'm Jenny, a recruiter. You sound like a good candidate. Do you think those are legit or are those like a scam?
There are some that are definitely scams. If they start asking you for personal information and start asking you to fill out something, or we've seen them, and it is funny. Well, not funny at all. I should not say that word. It's so not funny. But people pretend to be accent. So I have gotten, and I think partly because we're ACC, like we're the first ones, and we have gotten lots of calls where people are like, "Why are you scamming me?" And they're angry, and we're like, "We didn't send that." And if you look at this text message, there'll be that telltale sign of that grammar that's wrong or something. But accent would never. No recruiter should ever be asking you for any personal information, bank account information. But they will pretend, and they have gone so far as to pretend, like have names of our recruiters. They found them on
No
LinkedIn.
kidding.
Yeah, so you do have to be careful when you get those texts. Now, on the flip side of that, our recruiters will certainly text, but it is more like, "Hey, Olga, we are recruiting for XYZ. And we think you could be a fit. When can we schedule a time to chat?" Like, we're never going to ask for any personal information at that point or anything like
Yeah.
that. But text messaging is a way, especially to reach a certain demographic. And, it's funny because field work, like people that are out in the field, like whether it's construction or what have you, they've got their phone on you, but they don't have their email all the time, right? So a text message is a good way. So typically, like our practice is, we'll send an email, we'll leave a voicemail, and we'll send a text, and we'll say that we did all three. But yes, it does happen. It's prevalent, and it is a lot of scams.
I think one thing just to emphasize on is just making sure you're going to the correct places to actually
Yep.
look and like going on to like bbb.org and checking and making
Yes.
sure that, these are the actual people, maybe calling the number on that website or on
Versus,
your actual like business website as opposed to just taking, what you see face value.
now, have y'all gotten any, notifications? I mean, not of accent, but just, people being scammed when they're looking for jobs? I mean, has anybody ever reached out to the BBB here about that?
Well, they did that to my niece actually in Florida.
Oh, they
They
did.
offer her the job and everything. They say they will send the kid equipment to deposit $1,000 for the equipment, and she did. But thanks God, she got the money back.
Oh, she did.
Yeah, from the
That's
bank.
good. Yeah.
But yes, they're scamming a lot of young people looking for jobs.
Yeah, a lot of young people, and it's really sad because in some of the other people there, they have been, we saw a lot of people using our name for people that were looking for more lower paying, hourly work that obviously probably needed the money. They're going after people where money is, they need, probably every dime matters. And it's really sad because, they're not going after. And so we just, it really, and we made a point, like we talked about it as a company, and we made a point to call all of them back. It happened, it hadn't happened in a while, but it happened pretty prevalently for about 3 months. And we started realizing this is what's happening. There's nothing we can do about it except call them back and tell them, hey, it's not us.
Yeah.
And we tried to, a lot of them we could not help. But we tried to say, we are legit, and, we'll reach out if anything does happen, because I felt so bad for these people. But, yeah, when I saw the email, because I asked them to forward us the text or the email that they got, and it was obvious they were pretending to be us. I mean, but it was not us. And if there's that telltale sign, there's something in there that looks a little fishy.
Yeah.
But, when you're desperate for a job, and sometimes you're not
Anything
thinking,
looks good.
anything looks good.
Exactly.
It's always like, well, maybe this isn't,
Exactly.
just take the benefit of the doubt. But I think that says something about actually you going over. Some people would be like, all right, this is just something that happened. Let's focus on what we can do in the future. But you actually went back and
I
actually
did.
contacted
I mean, my heart, I'm a bleeding heart in some aspects, and I just felt like it was the right thing to do, to tell them, hey, it's not us. And I mean, it took some time. I mean, I'm recruiters like, we got to do this again. And, we did. But every single person that, it happened to, because what they'd end up doing is either calling us and leaving a message on our main line, or they would send an email like to our webpage or something. And we made sure we always did that. We haven't gotten a lot lately, so maybe knock on wood, maybe they moved on to another company, or people are getting more and more
Yeah.
savvy.
Hopefully they got at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Hopefully they were found out.
Scams are just, you got so much other things to do with your time, right? I mean, I guess.
You would think so. Sometimes there's people like I remember I was watching this this guy on YouTube, and he would actually like catch them, and he would I don't know how you're so good with computers, but they'll like log into their computer.
I'm not good with computers. Are you talking?
They'll log into your computer, and this guy will just like start recording them, and like he'll like get their address, like this is your location somewhere in, probably overseas majority of the time. Yeah. And they'll be like, yeah, we'll let you guys know this, but depending on just the location and where they are, sometimes, people are doing this to just stay alive. Some people have a gun to their head, some people are just, yeah, it really just depends on where you are in the situation. It's really scary. Yeah. Some people just need it to live. Some people actually need it to live, if that makes sense. It's nuts. But the people who have a choice, I feel like you always have a choice at the end of the day.
Right. Yeah.
Even if it's just temporary and you're trying to get out of it, it's like no one wants to do that.
So if someone is looking for a job and wanna get your service, how can they reach you?
Okay, so there's a couple of ways. So let's talk more from a candidate perspective, right? And I'll tell you what we're looking for. So we can help candidates whether they're confidentially looking, so they're unhappy in their current situation. We can help them if they're actively looking because they were laid off, or if they're just, hey, putting their toe their toe in the water, dipping their toe in the water. So what happens is the best way to reach us is I'm gonna actually give my cell phone. Okay, it's 804-814-7710. Now, my mailbox is always full, so texting is best. But if you text me and say, hey, Brooke, I'm looking, I can put you in touch with the right recruiter, okay, on my team. Or they can email bhall@accentrecruit.com. They can also, there is a contact us page on our website. If you really want to get to the horse's come to me, and then you're not going to talk to me probably. You're probably going to talk to a recruiter, but at least I can facilitate it. So that's the best way. And then our process works kind of like this. We might very well, in a perfect world, you reach out, I've got something on my desk, there's an open role, and we can place you immediately, right? No, that does not. I said perfect world, and we know it's not. On the flip side, maybe I love your skill set, and we have a client that I know needs it. So we'll do a video interview of you. We clean up your resume, we get your brag book together, and then we market you out to our clients. So lots of different ways. There's a recruiting way and there's a headhunting way, and we can work with both. So that's how candidates would find us. Now, clients come to us for various reasons. Maybe they have a confidential role, they want to replace somebody and they can't post, right? Or we have clients that come to us that say, our industry is really small. I'm best friends with every competitor, and I can't go take from the competitor because I play golf with him every day or every weekend. But you can, so you go be the bad guy to take this person. So a lot, and they reach out to us too because they don't have time. Like, they don't have time to sift through all the resumes to get nothing. They don't have time to go and headhunt and prospect, because it really is almost a sales role, because I've got to sell. If somebody's not actively looking, I've got to sell your company to a potential candidate who might be employed and then make that match happen. So they would find us the same way, but the process is a little bit different if you're a business looking for talent.
And for young people that is just coming out of the university and they don't know, because I think that the best way to do that if you're in the university is doing this internship. And then you probably will get hired, or at least you have that in your resume. But a lot of people don't have the chance to do it. So what would you recommend to those young people out of the university?
So it is tough. I mean, I graduated from the University of Virginia, 30 years ago. Don't tell. Well, I'm live, so everybody already knows now. But, and I didn't know what to do, right? I mean, it is not easy because everybody wants experience. But I highly recommend, if internship, you kind of have to go about it the same way. There are some companies that we have clients now that will look right for people right out of the universities. But, if you don't have a specialized degree, it's a little tougher. But you can go work at there's some companies that love to hire directly out and they train you up. So it's really trying to find that company that will look, but you need to set yourself apart. I recommend anybody at the university, if you could. I mean, if you don't play sport, that's okay. But if you get in student government, or you can get just set yourself apart. Also, you always want to put on your resume, if you paid your way through school. That's a huge one. Like, I never really knew how important, employers love to see that. They're like, they can pay their way, they can work, pay their way through school, and then graduate. That just speaks volumes. So, it is not easy finding a job online. It is not. I gotta say, you apply to the black hole, but I think aligning yourself with a recruiter is always a great way to be seen if you don't have that experience.
And you can do that also if you're switching career. For example, if you are in marketing and you want to move to human resource.
Yes.
How can you do that?
You've got to have an advocate, because applying online, you got to think, it was before AI, it was still bad. I mean, what you still needed the keyword, so you're probably pigeonholed, obviously. So you're going to need an advocate, whether it is a recruiter like Accent, or there's career coaching firms like Lee Hecht Harrison is out there. They're great. So you just need to find an advocate that can help you, outline your resume, tell your story, and get seen that way.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. This was easy and painless. I appreciate y'all having me. Y'all are great. Thank
Have a good
you.
afternoon.
All right.
Anybody who's watching, just make sure to follow us on Spotify, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Better Business Bureau, BBB, Central Virginia, also just Ignite, sparked by BBB. You guys enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Ignite, sparked by BBB, where conversations are taking place to change the future.